Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rumble Wrestling TV. I am your commentator, Aaron Nix, and it's time for singles action here at the Ditton Community Centre. Referee Mr. Matt Wilson will be in charge of two of the most exciting young talents that professional wrestling has to offer in Britain today, from two entirely different but excellent professional wrestling schools. The student of the game from SOS Wrestling, Richie Stevens, versus Quality Wrestling's champion, the real standout for the academy, David Lovejoy, who we've obviously seen before. Of course, we've seen Richie Stevens as well before. Both men are well adept to the Rumble Wrestling ring, as you can see, in a nice little standoff after an early exchange with both of these young athletes. And we talked so much on all the dirt sheets, on all the forums, about the future of professional wrestling. Well, if you're into your British independent wrestling, these two men most definitely fit the bill as the future of our great sport, particularly in this country, the finest country when it comes to independent wrestling, of course, in England. And now Richie Stevens and David Lovejoy, and it's David Lovejoy with a headlock on Richie Stevens, who shows his power there a little bit, looking to lift David Lovejoy completely out of that headlock, backing him up onto the ropes and spins him off. And oh wow, David Lovejoy showing a bit of power of his own with a shoulder block, just knocking down Richie Stevens and floating over the top. Beautiful leapfrog there by the student of the game. But David Lovejoy, both men blocking the hip toss very nicely, and David Lovejoy ducks under that clothesline attempt and looking to roll through into a pinning combination, where Richie Stevens holds onto the ropes and now looking to sweep the legs, and beautiful technique here by both men. Looking to get one up on each other, and he catches the leg there and puts it down quite nicely, and a nice bit of sportsmanship here from two incredibly likeable young men in professional wrestling. Well, it's been a little while actually since we've seen Richie Stevens, but Dave Lovejoy has been on the circuit quite a bit recently, and obviously has had magnificent success thanks to Quality Wrestling. Oh, it looks like the fun and games might be over for Richie Stevens a bit there. A handshake, but also a little bit of motion to say, you know what? I'm in charge here, and I feel like I can get the better of you, and that's essentially what's going to be happening here in this match, ladies and gentlemen. Both of these lads are incredible technical wrestlers, and both men are going to be looking to really make a mark here, because, of course, if you can impress Rumble Wrestling management, then you are going to be onto a winning formula, because there is no better place to learn your craft and become a true champion of British professional wrestling than, of course, Rumble Wrestling. And of course, use that hashtag Rumble Wrestling TV. Join in the conversation on social media. Let us know what you think of the matchups. Who's your favourite for this contest? And let us know your general opinions on Rumble Wrestling. We love to hear them. We love to hear from our amazing fans. And of course, over 300 strong here. Standing room only. A sellout at Ditton Community Centre. And who wouldn't want to see a contest of this caliber between David Lovejoy, who's currently got the wrist lock control, on the student of the game, Richie Stevens. Richie Stevens living up to his moniker there. Some beautiful technique, escaping the wrist lock, and now looking to get leverage there. I think he was looking to sweep the leg out as well, and you see that there, rolling backwards, rolling through to alleviate some of the pressure, and now rolling through again and just slaps himself through. Oh wow, a shove on David Lovejoy. I don't think Richie Stevens takes kindly to David Lovejoy getting one up on him in the technical stakes, particularly when he considers himself to be the student of the game. But if there is a man who can match in terms of learning the incredible technical fundamentals of professional wrestling, is of course David Lovejoy, who is on a tear right now all over the United Kingdom, particularly on the South Coast. Of course, as we mentioned, already a champion representing Quality Wrestling Academy, which of course is head up by the dastardly Crimson By, and there's a move that Rishi Ghosh would be extremely happy with, as Richie Stevens just clubbed David Lovejoy to the back and now has the neck in a cravat, I believe. And again, it's all about body control. Drops the elbow across, and now just a straight crossface. Think about the torque on the neck and on the face that Richie Stevens is applying to David Lovejoy. And beautiful technique there, pushing him right through into a cover, and just a 2 count. Referee Matt Wilson going to have to be quick on his feet, because these two honestly can pull any number of tricks out of the book. And Richie Stevens cranking that neck and driving that elbow and that forearm across the chest and the neck of David Lovejoy, looking to debilitate him, looking to put him to sleep here with a very standard but very effective sleeper hold, a J-lock of sorts. Something that he's taught ad nauseum in martial arts, and with good reason. Double-handed throat thrust there. And David Lovejoy looking to create separation, now just driving his head into the midsection, the breadbasket of Richie Stevens, and looking to club him across the back, sweeps the leg out, trying to get him down to a lower disposition, and a beautiful lower standing enziguri. That's the thing about David Lovejoy, he may not necessarily have a height advantage over many of his opponents, but he knows how to chop down a tree, and that's exactly what he's done here with Richie Stevens. Someone who is so methodical like David Lovejoy really enjoys this kind of contest, a stand-up technical wrestling affair, and lovely chin lock there by Richie Stevens. Just, wow, a little bit of disrespect there, just throwing David Lovejoy to the canvas, making him eat the canvas of Rumble Wrestling, and now picking him up for a very easy scoop slam with the release, and now into the cover, and just a 2 count, but a deep cover as well. And again, looking to expend the energy. People might be asking, why is he going for another cover when he's just kicked out? Very simple. Looking to exhaust your opponent. The more energy you use to kick out, the more likely you are to be gassed, to be exhausted. And now a stack suplex. Beautiful float over as well. Straight into the cover and hooks the leg. And just a 2 count there. Richie Stevens seems to be in full control at this point, and a student of the game who's always studying tape. A man who really enjoys the finer sides of professional wrestling, consistently looking at the greats like Bret the Hitman Hart and Shawn Michaels, and using all of that knowledge, all of that training and those fundamentals to his advantage. Dare I say, taking David Lovejoy a little bit lightly here, and he gets caught there. A lovely sunset flip. Oh, Richie Stevens, I think he's looking to sit in, but oh no, David Lovejoy was able to get the leverage, get him over. Just a 2 count. Richie Stevens catches David Lovejoy coming up with that kick. Right now, this really is a game of chess between two fundamentally sound wrestlers, as Richie Stevens uses that velocity and that movement and that extra strength advantage to just Irish whip David Lovejoy into the corner. Richie Stevens seems to have had a real change of heart during this contest, asking David Lovejoy, who the hell are you? I think he takes kindly to the idea that David Lovejoy, despite of course himself being a champion, David Lovejoy, I think he takes real umbrage with the fact that he feels that he can out-wrestle Richie Stevens, and I'll tell you what, that will certainly not help matters as he goes over underneath, and now a standing drop kick again. And David Lovejoy really does have a great deal of athleticism. We haven't seen too much of it on display yet. This has been going hold for hold. The 2 beautiful standing drop kicks, ducks under the clothesline for Richie Stevens, and now a beautiful tilt-a-whirl head scissors takes over Richie Stevens into the corner. David Lovejoy now looking to build some momentum. An extremely popular young man on the South Coast, and of course, extremely popular here with the Rumble Wrestling fans. A very likeable young man is David Lovejoy, but likeable does not win wrestling matches. Wrestling wins wrestling matches, and a lovely snap effect there, floating over Richie Stevens, and now looking to apply potentially a inverted fisherman's buster maybe, and Richie Stevens aware of that, able to fight his way out, and again going back to that neck, that upper shoulder region, trying to debilitate him, floats right through into a beautiful Northern Light suplex with a bridging pin, and David Lovejoy just shooting his shoulder off the canvas. You've got to appreciate the technique of Richie Stevens there. He's asking why David Lovejoy won't quit, and there's a very good reason for that, because David Lovejoy is one of the most resilient wrestlers in the game, but Richie Stevens knows he has all the tools at his disposal to beat any man on any given night. He's still in control of this contest over David Lovejoy, and oh wow, just a violent forearm shiver right across the chin, and David Lovejoy looks to be in serious trouble, and Richie Stevens, after jaw-jacking Lovejoy, is now jaw-jacking his own jaw, talking a bit of trash. And David Lovejoy taking exception. Not too much pepper on that forearm, but there's one for Richie Stevens. And if anything, that seems to have woken up David Lovejoy. Now really trying to put some force behind it, but finding it hard to generate any strength. And that's why Richie Stevens goes low, and now just paintbrushes Lovejoy with a slap across the face. Looking to whip David Lovejoy into the corner, who counters. Now catches him coming in, potentially looking for a leapfrog, and oh wow, turnabout is fair play, ladies and gentlemen, and Richie Stevens went up and over at the expense of David Lovejoy. He now found himself on the apron, ascending to the top turnbuckle. Is he going to make it 2 for 2 tonight in terms of quality wrestling, picking up wins here at Rumble Wrestling, and he rolls right through over the top, and now he's able to duck that clothesline for Richie Stevens. Waistlock control, but Richie Stevens again utilising that upper body strength. He's in phenomenal condition, by the way, as he takes Lovejoy up and over and is able to counter that suplex attempt. Richie Stevens goes behind, but Lovejoy goes behind again, and now, oh, look at that. Catches Richie Stevens, that, wow, inverted fisherman's buster right on his head. That was a nasty collision, and David Lovejoy, out of quite literally nowhere, is able to counter something as simple as a waistlock go behind and picks up the win.